But I think honestly this is a fun game to stream. Kind of like it. Yo, Spanish. How are you doing? How was your Sunday? Mayon. That woman looks a bit deranged, but I like that. So I want to watch this chronologically.
I gotta find her quick.
Okay. I didn't save the first playthrough, if you know what I mean. I didn't save it. I think it's lost. Let me see. Is it still there? From last week, like the one from last week is still there. Videos. Mutes. Videos. Let me see if it's still there. Video producer. Yes, that's what I need to be. October. What? No, past broadcasts. I'll watch it somewhere else than another day. Yeah. November 26th. No, that's the first playthrough.
Movies do that?
It's 2 weeks, so this is your chance. I'll highlight it. I'll highlight it. So you won't miss out too much. How about that? What a good guy I am. I'll watch it in what is that? Spain? Are you gonna go to Spain this year? During holidays? No,
We worked on this.
Okay, let me highlight it for you. Okay, that's a stupid joke. It's an okay game. I think it's more fun to watch than to play.
And Crytek doesn't really know.
But welcome in. Have a good. I could also.
Where is
Photos,
it?
like clear. Finding the. Let's keep watching. I just want to see the game. Like apply to judge. So they have a game. Gonna lurk and rewatch later. Are you still here, Spanish? So it's funny because the first time I tried to start this game, it wouldn't start, and I had to do some technical things. Do you want that added to the VOD? To the highlighted VOD? It's like half an hour of me troubleshooting the game. Oh, you already saw that? Okay. Never mind. I was there. Okay. I'll highlight the first playthrough. What's it called again? Call of Cthulhu Part 1. How about that? Cthulhu. I'll do Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Go sleep earlier than your stream ends. That's true. That is true. Yeah. Usually I play till at least 12 or something. If I'm playing a horror game, I'll play a couple hours, like 3-4 hours. And if I start at 7 or 8, yeah, it's going to be around midnight. So I found the first part. Mochi. We get dir. Let me find the second part. Want to play finals? Later? I'm gonna play Call of Cthulhu for a couple hours, but if you're still up and I'm down for it, I'll let you know. In a couple hours, like maybe around 11 or something. Light build broken. Is it? I've been shit on by light with the sword a lot. I've seen a full light build team that is really annoying. Really annoying. Yo, Rain. So is heavy launcher or nade launcher? Yeah, heavy has been really annoying too. I've also been in I think one of the maps you can get sniped so nastily. There's a few sniper spots, and I think with a light, that's a light, right? The sniper. Rain, how are you doing? First SMG for light is nuts. I got Invis Cloak, that's absurd. Yeah. I've seen some things. I haven't played a lot. Only I think like 5 hours in total. And I've been like the light character, light build, whatever, is really annoying to deal with if they're good at it. Because they do so much damage when they're up close to you. You can't out damage them. It's over. It's Jover. It's Jover, you know? I damage low HP. Yeah. I understand. I understand that it's a glass cannon, but there's no counterplay when they're up close in your face. Hey, 1,000 faces. Welcome in. You just woke up? Ooh, now that's a good sight. Seeing my face when you wake up. Good morning. Give me one more sec. I'm setting up the. I'm highlighting the Cthulhu playthroughs from the past 2 weeks before they disappear because some of my friends want to watch the VODs. So I don't want them to get deleted. I haven't played the game solo in a long time and had fun. I played solo and it was quite fun which was surprising. Yeah. I watched you for a bit, Mochi. Not very long, but I was surprised that you were playing solo. And I was like, is this actually playable solo? Or is this cancer? It seemed like you were having an okay time. I've also seen some lights just go alone and then get shit on by a whole team because they're not, their team wouldn't be able to back them up because they went too fast alone. I've had that a couple times.
Unlucky, man.
Okay, that's from last week. But I'm actually.
I have little time for you,
Like
Doctor.
there's people
You'll find
lurking.
out that it's not only the doctors who have things to do. Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going?
He sounds.
Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Dunham.
Won a lot of matches. Yes, you can 1v3 so you can hard carry even. But some teams that are queuing are hard to fight because they actually play together. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mochi. I think it's definitely playable, especially since people... If you're playing against randoms, it's probably not going to be too bad. But if it's a well-coordinated team and they actually utilize all the advantages of each build, I think you're going to have a hard time 1v3ing. Enjoy your coffee faces. I'll be here. Happy to see you're alive, by the way, Rain. You've been ignoring me. Do I just drop here? Is there fall damage? Okay, this makes more sense.
Locked.
Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, I can't even. There's an invisible wall. Ooh.
This tank seems strong enough to break down the door.
Which door? Oh, that door. Are we gonna swing the door to break down this door? I mean, swing the tank to break down this door, the metal door? I do not know. I kind of forgot how or where we are right now, because it's been a week. Gotta remember a bit. What's in my inventory? How do I open my inventory? Cold pistol, Sketch of a still life. Sketch of a bust. Equal parts good and miserable, my friend. Out there existing shit, elusive like a cat, but cringe like a frog. Nice. Is that how you pronounce that last word? Nice. I know, Rain. I'm not. You know. I can't. I don't know. I emphasize. I have empathy for you, but I cannot know what's going on in your life, so. No, I don't judge or anything. It's just I miss you. I missed you. That's all I wanted to say. And I'm glad you're alive. And I hope it gets better. 7TV emote? Well, Kaylee, get to it. Get the 7TV emotes. I have 6 CP available. Shall we get strong? Could you add the emote called nice with an S? K is my 7TV admin mod. Whatever. Or do we add psychology? Because occultism and medicine you can't upgrade unless you find things in game. Eloquence, spot hidden. This is kind of useful, but I also don't think I need it for the game. Strength is kind of cool. But I think this is the most useful, let's be honest. Eloquence. There it is. Nice. Oh shit, what happened to us? We got so much trauma. First dilemma. Leviathan has returned to torture Pierce. This time the choice has allowed the detective to gain access to shocking revelations on the inhabitants of the island that he believed were his allies. Ooh. Each piece of knowledge gained destroys Pierce's mind one more bit, a mind already weakened by visual and sound hallucinations that accompany Leviathan's visits. What the hell are these emotes? Finger. The detective's sanity is greatly undermined by these encounters. He's in danger of sinking into madness for good. Oh shit. So my current sanity is psychotic. There is a secret, a forgotten secret, so old and terrifying, which is only divulged in the blasphemous pages of lost tomes, or whispered during forgotten and outlawed rituals. We are not children of Providence. You know the cruel and awful truth, and you have seen the frightening face of reality. Ooh, doubting reality. There, the title of the streamer. There it is. It's a wink to these kind of horror stories. Oh my goodness. The lore. Shut up, Kaylee. Darkwater Police Station. The police station on Darkwater is in the image of those that occupy it. Cramped, neat and tidy, and totally amateur. I'm the only one occupying a cell, but it's not surprising when you see the collusion between the police and the bootleggers, who no doubt supply them with whiskey. I must find a way out of this hole. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have any inventory items that are useful in this situation. So we're just gonna look around. Oh, this is the door. Wait, is this the door? Who's singing? You hear that? What is that? Okay, so this way goes up to the... Let's take a look around. Anything here? Ooh.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Diary of the Pastor's Wife, Volume 5. These are the last entries of the pastor's wife. Her husband ordered his faithful to come together. Welcome back, faces. Her husband ordered his faithful to come together for a final ceremony in the honor of Leviathan. She fears that the pastor will ask them to sacrifice themselves to this abomination. She tried to escape. This is probably why her body was found in a cave under the mansion. I'm so thirsty. My lips are dry. My mouth is dry. Gotta hydrate. Anything in here? Ooh. Office key. This key opens the offices of the whaling station. Huh. Oh.
Fuller was a crew member too. Interesting.
Hydrate. Oh shit. I'm gonna get drowned here. Page torn from log 2. Edward Pierce. Fuller was a crew member too. Interesting. Wednesday, 23rd June, 1847. 33 north, 53 west. The morning is biting cold. This creature made us work hard. Half of my crew is dead. I've never seen such a thing. I don't even know how to describe what happened. It's as if the creature was talking inside our heads. Some of my men went crazy and jumped overboard. This thing is not a whale. It's far bigger. I don't even know how to describe it. It practically gutted our ship with these tentacles. I don't know how. My harpoon finally pierced the skull of this monster. The crew is in a sorry state. Fuller looks after the injured, but some will not recover. Faces, did you look at the VOD that I linked yesterday? Were you watching that yesterday? Are you up to speed with the game? With the story. Rats. Come here, little ratto. Not yet. I'm going to watch it after this. So are you watching this in without chronology? How do you call that?
Could use that to hold the reservoir back.
Playing Rust? Oh, did you actually keep playing? How was it? Did you kill some more naked men and women? Relatively thick rope to which a metal hook is attached. It must be used to pick up heavy materials. It looks strong enough to take the weight of the tank. All right, we got the rope. Can I attach it now, or do I need something more? Unchronologically. I think there's a different word for it, isn't there? Something that's not chronological. But maybe I'm overthinking it. I finally have a duo partner. It was super fun. Got guns and Metal Gear. Ooh. Oh yeah. I burnt my fingies. I don't know. Let's go up there again. How did I get up there actually? I was on this side. I thought there was a ladder. Oh. Oh, it's so well hidden. That sounds like a lot of fun, Faces. I don't know. I haven't played Rust myself.
This tank seems strong enough to break down the door.
Okay, but how... I'm probably missing parts, so I have to get on the other side. Oh, that's the key for this? That's the office? Wait, wasn't it the office door? The offices of the whaling station. Okay. I wouldn't call this an office, but that's me, I guess.
I'll be lucky if it's still sharp enough.
This knife is rusty, but it still looks usable. Ooh, that looks really mangled. What is that?
It mentions the Leviathan. How it drove the sailors mad.
Page torn from log 4. Friday 27th, June 1847. 37 north, 63 west. Look, actual sailors. The whole crew was descended into madness. They speak of dreams, visions of a nightmarish city, and of a sleeping god. Madness. I locked myself in my cabin. I won't be able to hold out for long. Fitzroy has 12 men on his side. They sacrificed everyone who tried to stop them to their new god. I beseech you, Almighty God, to have pity on our souls. This will be my last prayer. I can hear them whispering. Oh my goodness.
Doesn't work.
I hope I'm doing this right. Oh, did I fuck it up already? I think I fucked it up already. Let's see. Oh. No, I'm doing it right.
This should stop the cart from moving. This should help me get the tank swinging.
Yes.
I need something to cut the rope to release the tank against the door.
Oh, I see what he's doing. Oh, so I just go back there and cut the rope and it swings. Interesting. It was that door. God damn. Beast in the cave. Enter the beast's den. What? I don't want to enter the beast's den. The beast's den. Why do I want to do that? I don't think I need to be here, but let's see what's here. Yeah, there's nothing here. Why can I go here anyway? Oh, there's something here. Oh no, there isn't. I got a check mark. That means there's nothing left. I'm stupid. I forgot about that. But with my spot hidden ability, I can spot things that are hidden. It makes no sense because that ability basically adds more items to the world. Like, what is that? How's that finding things? It's just not there if you don't have the ability on a high level. What are these? That looks pretty yummy. They've been cutting them.
What is the thing?
Leviathan. Stellar larva, offspring of the earth, Leviathan is seen, feared, worshipped, and named by men. It is linked by its dreams to the one who sleeps, and will not find rest until its divine progenitor is free. There is no greater predator on earth, and yet this being that feeds on huge creatures will never directly attack men. It will instill fear, the dreams of Rillier, and finally madness into the minds of those it chooses to serve its designs. Cursed are those who cross its path, and more cursed still those who hear its voice, because for them no salvation in death. Extract taken from the Necronomicon by Abdul al-Hazret. Yes. What is that thing? The thing? Question mark. What the fuck?
No. That voice. You're the Leviathan.
Do I come closer?
Sarah?
Oh. Wait, what? Was Sarah there all along? office? At least we got whiskey.
Hello. Who is this?
The quest for truth requires sacrifice. There's no room for compassion.
Who's there?
Your stubbornness at wanting to help others who would have deserted you is a weakness. Fate leads us inevitably to solitude, and in one's final moments, one
Good
is
one,
always
Spanish.
alone. You can't escape it forever. It will always find its way.
Damn it!
What the fuck?
Everything points back to the day they brought in that thing.
Skilla crew, 1847. So they were eating this. All this time they were saying, we found a huge whale or something. But they've been eating this all along. For over a year. A forgotten photograph. In the offices of the whaling station, only a handful of the Skilla crew is present. Captain Fitzroy and Dr. Fuller are included. It is dated 1847. Still intoxicated, still dreaming. Yeah. The thing is, I've been... Every time I could in this game, I took at least three sips of whiskey. And I think I got drunk every single time. So I don't know if that affects the story or anything. Maybe. Lightweight.
The sailors were going insane. Fitzroy and the mutineers took over the ship. And probably killed the captain.
Yeah. He drinks one, like, I don't know, half cup of whiskey, and it's not a huge cup or anything. And he gets drunk after the 3 swigs. Thursday, 25th June, 1847. 35 north, 59 west. Fitzroy encouraged the men all day. They are in shock and can't overcome their trauma. They say they can hear the screams of their comrades turned mad. Some of them hurt themselves in a desperate attempt to stop the visions that haunted them. Others chose to embrace them. Fitzroy is one of the latter. He named the beast Leviathan because he believes in his biblical nature. I told him to get rid of it before it's too late. This thing is not the work of God.
An old log.
Captain Hamilton's logbook. Monday, 24th May, 1847. 42nd, 42 north, 70 west. We have sailed from the island of Darkwater towards the north. Sailors say that these waters are haunted. I don't believe in these tales. It's not a good time for us. My men haven't seen the slightest trace of a whale for quite a while. If this season doesn't improve, they will no longer wish to serve on the Skilla. Sunday, 30th of May, 1847. 47 north, 55 west. We are not the only hunters here. While we were looking for a prey, we found dead whales, a dozen of them, drifting, their entrails exposed. They had been shred as if they had been attacked by a huge predator. It's very strange. Perhaps it is a sign from God. Perhaps it is this good catch that we have long hoped for. We must find it, whatever the risk.
Belonging to the captain of the Scylla. The pages I found seem
Oh, it's
to be
Scylla.
missing ones.
I keep thinking it's Skilla. I would say Skilla. But it's the Scylla. What's this? Excision of the Madness Stone. Beliefs and other superstitions have sometimes contributed to the development of medicine. Several centuries ago, it was thought that a patient with a mental disorder had a stone of madness in his skull. A trepanation of the skull and excision were thus performed. Sometimes the patient survived, sometimes he was cured. Today the vocabulary has changed, but the methods a little less. Did we see everything here? Emergency case. Accident. Oh, is that? Wait, that's the tiniest pipe I've ever seen. Look at how small it is. You see that on the book? On the green-blue book? The cyan book? It's such a tiny pipe. The tentacles are one of the most significant signs that the creature isn't your typical whale. For babies, yeah. A tiny pipe for the youngins. You know, they gotta get their smokes in too. Oh shit. I'm not. Am I supposed to like not look at it and explore further? Is that a game mechanic?
They eat his flesh while he's still alive.
What the fuck? No, I don't think the pipe is tiny. The pipe is big enough, even above average, I would say. Is it? Good for you, Spanish. This is where it came from, right? What? I think I'm not supposed to look at the Leviathan. This is normal, guys. This is my my phobia of small spaces. That's kicking in. Not a big deal. Claustrophobia.
Learn to obey.
Oh shit, is the gas. Obey.
Ah, finally awake. How do you feel, Mr. Pierce?
Fuller! Son of a bitch! I'll kill you!
No, I'm not even really with you. Well, to be perfectly precise, I am with you, but not in this cell.
What have you done to me?
Me? Nothing, really. See, it's one of the exquisite effects of this incredible creature.
Leviathan!
I see you already know about it. Well, shall we begin?
Huh? What is that? Learn to obey. I can't. I had to do it, even if I didn't want it. Oh, that looks pretty good. Misbehave. What is that stuff? Should I have some? I mean, I am hungry. Looks like pickle? Yeah, it's just a sea cucumber.
Let me take a sample from you. Flesh, blood, spinal fluids. Don't fear. I created the mythological ichor from Leviathan's flesh. Who knows what I can make with you? I need your body for my research.
Reminds me of a tropical fruit. It kind of does look like tropical fruit. Pale skin and green inside. I mean, what am I using the gun for this time?
I killed him.
A necessary sacrifice that proves your determination.
What? I don't know. It would. What's happening? I don't trust Sarah. But I can't look at that. I don't want to follow Sarah anymore. Fuck this bitch. Oh, okay.
Find the truth and be free.
Okay, what is this? Huh? Wait, that was it?
Nothing's happening.
Speedrunning. We're speedrunning this bitch. Oh. I didn't look down. At least I respawn instantly. So I'm supposed to turn on the oven? Can I just walk off this? Yes, I can. That's interesting. That pipe leads to this, and there's another pipe there. So I guess we gotta turn the wheels, the cogs, the valves. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I see what you did here. Okay, well, which one was it? It is that one. The one that, okay, I see it. The one that goes like whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop. Okay. So it's this one. Easy. Okay, so this one probably does the same thing. This one's even easier because it's the one that... So you gotta... Whoa, that's pretty cool looking. I didn't even notice that. Something's getting... Oh, this is such a cool concept. I love this. Like, some of the pipes are coming from the heavens or another dimension or something. And it's being mixed with the fuel for something here. And this looks like some kind of cremation oven or something. Right, the pipe goes like that. Boop, boop, boop. You see, like, boop, 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 boop. No. Wait. I'm confused. Which pipe leads to the cogwheel? It looks like the one... Huh? Am I blind? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I have to get that one, I think. Boop, 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 boop. It won't go straight up. Why? I looked down. There is wood, isn't there? Okay, I see. So, if it's not there already, does this disappear? Oh, so the true path is visible here, but once you pass this, it's not visible. Which one is the true path? Ah, fuck. Harder than it looks, guys. Does it go straight? And then it goes like that spine, like weird path. It's this one. And then it goes like this. Oh! Crap! The last part is wrong. I see. It goes left. I see. Oh! Blah, 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 blah. I took the wrong side again. Hold on. Listen, man. It's this one. You gotta go like this. Go like this. Yes. And this one. Crap. Isn't it? Crap Jandoodle. Can I get far enough here? See which one's real? Yeah. It's that one. This part of the game is really cool. IMO. I love the weird abstract symbolism. Alright then. I guess we gotta run. I can't drive there. Why is it quiet? Why is it suddenly quiet? Loud again. What have we done? I guess, whoopsie.
Pierce.
Fitzroy.
Time to hoist the white flag. We're not gonna hurt you.
I won't go without a fight.
You think you're here of your own accord?
Stay back, or I'll put a bullet in your head.
Our supreme oracle has spoken. You will follow your destiny.
What?
In his awakening.
Oh shit. Do we land in the water with the Leviathan?
I see. You cannot escape my awareness. I followed your wanderings, your choices, your attempts to free yourself from destiny. But it is unavoidable. And as I predicted, you have come to free me. Awaken and call him.
What? Ooh, it's pretty exciting. Coastal Cave, Chapter 14. Pierce finally met Leviathan in flesh and blood. The monstrous creature submitted him to a series of ordeals, at the end of which he decided that the detective was ready to face his destiny. Pierce blew up the whaling station and, after a final confrontation with Leviathan, he passed out.
The voice. I can't hear the voice anymore.
Oh, are we cleared from the voice? I think we're getting even more mad. What's that?
You are trapped.
Truth.
Keep going.
My God.
This way.
Hmm?
Stand up. Walk.
Is somebody there? Hey, who are you?
What's happening? Is it myself? What's happened to the
Where am I?
screen? It looks like it resets. Really weird effect.
The miraculous catch was a trap. Leviathan wanted to be found.
Yep. But Leviathan isn't Cthulhu. It's something that
To our fallen crew members,
helps Cthulhu.
they have given their lives for a greater purpose. The last name added is that of Charles Hawkins. I'm willing to bet that they killed all the survivors of the miraculous catch. It always comes back to the Scylla. It was where it all began.
Nice. A circle.
It will soon be time, Edward Pierce.
You are dead. None of this is real. I saw you dead, as I see you now. Am I crazy too?
You survived. Don't you understand? You couldn't die. You will stay alive until you've fulfilled your destiny.
No!
Look at me. Look at me, Pierce. Dare tell me that you still don't believe it.
This is madness.
I'm here to guide you.
You mean, like the voice?
Don't you feel him?
But it can't be. He's gone.
You're mistaken. He's still inside of us.
See, she can hear him as well as you do. She's one of us.
It's not just your life that is at stake. Many men and women have sacrificed themselves for this moment.
Colden!
You will not deprive them of their hope of a better life.
I saw what Leviathan did to Fuller. We will all die like him.
His life
Yeah, the
was
facial
written
animations
well
aren't
before
great.
It started. It was not predetermined that he lived to see the call. But you? Yes. It is your destiny.
Let's speak in tongues.
This painting. The investigation. I understand now. Like you, I was called here by a higher power.
Yes. All your choices had the sole purpose of preparing you for the final decision.
I must make a choice.
Not just make a choice. The right choice.
Not yet, but soon. We have one more thing to accomplish.
What is it?
I must take you to Sarah Hawkins, our oracle.
I mean, at this point, we might as well just give in to the insanity.
Sarah, I feel her calling me. Let us not wait any longer.
Not yet. You have one last thing to accomplish.
No, please. I can't do it.
Do you understand what it is?
She has already fulfilled her mission. Worry about your own.
No. No.
No one can fight their fate. Neither them, nor you.
Shut up! Silence! Stop! Go away! Stop!
Don't resist, Edward. They're already dead. There's nothing you can do. Just give in.
What happened to me? Sarah. I must go to Sarah. She is the Oracle. She will know what to do.
What's happening here? I don't think I can use this boat anymore. Scylla. Chapter 14, Alabaster Point. After a final confrontation, Pierce must go to Alabaster Point, where Sarah Hawkins is supposed to be waiting for him. There, he must make decisions that could change the destiny of the world. God damn. Yes. Yes, Kaylee. Yes, I agree. Nice. Nice one, Kaylee. Here we go. Is this actually the climax of the game? I thought it would be another couple hours. Did I actually speedrun the game? Damn, this is a cool place. Reminds me of Doom 2016.
Reality as you know it stops here.
None of
Holy shit. What is that? Is that a tentacle? That's pretty cool looking.
What have they done to me?
Come on.
Oh!
Oh.
Mr. Pierce, I was expecting you.
Fuller, you died in front of my eyes.
Don't jump to conclusions. Is there not the tiniest spark of a scientific mind inside of that detective skull of yours?
What abject substance did you use to turn her into an empty shell?
Abject substance. The serum extracted from Leviathan's oil bestows the power of life. To me, my body is nothing but the mortal vessel of my conscience. To you, it contains more answers and secrets than your insignificant mind can grasp.
Hey, look, it's Iceland. With the hexagonal rocks.
barely stand up, and yet here you are. You never give up.
That is not you. Not anymore. Not since your disappearance on the docks.
Ah, detective. So easy to fool you. So eager to rush to the rescue of a woman in distress.
You won't make me regret having tried to save people. I did what I could. Even for Colden.
Your efforts to change your destiny, although in vain, make you worthy of the fate that is yours. The day has come. You will be asked to choose.
Chose. The subtitles. What will I choose? So do I... Guys, what do I choose? Do I choose the side of the Leviathan, or do I keep being human? Oh! No way, it's him.
You took everything from me. Wife, life, destiny. You forsook your right to a normal life the moment you chose power over humanity. No one wants
looks
to
healthy.
see such an unbearable sight.
Oh,
You don't have the slightest idea of what you speak, of what I've been through. I have sacrificed my life to the one who sleeps. My marriage, my family, my own flesh. Why didn't Sarah choose me? Why is it your damn face on her painting?
what's behind him? There's something there.
But you already know it. I can see that you will make the right choice.
I don't know. I don't know.
Your fear of the unknown and your stupid pride cloud your judgment. Quit lying to yourself and embrace your destiny. It's not cowering that brought you those medals. None of this is real. Trust your guts.
If nothing's real, what are you?
I'm a projection of your mind. What remains of that instinct that pulled you out of the trenches. Don't listen to them. They're too dangerous for your tired mind.
Okay. Oh, sleeping one, guide me to the truth.
I'm almost there.
It's a party, guys. They're all waiting for me. This is pretty cool looking. They're on the floating platforms. It's really cute, actually, for some reason. That's so cute. Here we are.
Here you are at last, Truth Seeker.
She was waiting for you.
You were waiting for me.
Yes. When I finally discovered the truth, I knew you would come. All this time I was fighting it, afraid of what I might discover. But I was afraid of myself.
It's coming.
What did you learn?
Listen to me, Edward Pierce, as I will deliver the truth.
I don't have enough. Occultism. How would you get master? Do I give in? Or do I ask her, are you crazy? Give in?
I have seen things. Strange and horrifying, but always true.
Will you trust my words?
Yes.
One man only prepared by the trials and revelations, holds the power to change the world. Because I saw you in the dreams I share with my God. I recognize you for what you are, a truth seeker. One of the rare humans who is able to perceive fragments of his mind.
Yes, yes.
I feel the truth in your words.
Because it was written. Or, as I like to see it, painted on the canvas of fate.
Pierce, help me!
Oh.
Silence!
God damn. Here's the dagger. The dagger. You gotta sacrifice him with the dagger. The animations. NPC walk. Perform the counter ritual. I will perform the ritual. Do I have to select anything? What happens if I don't select anything at all? I know this is jarring, but let's go here. Can I save? I could save. If I could save, I would try them both. I kind of want Cthulhu to wake up and just cleanse the world of all the shit. On the other hand, I don't think this is the way to do it. It's a tough choice. I'll fucking do the ritual myself. I'll do it. I mean, I'm the truth seeker, and this is the only way. Hey, this is what Katie typed. Okay, why do you know this? What are you? Oh, you're a disciple of the Leviathan. Oh my goodness. The ink from the squid. From the squid monster. That is pretty cool. That's it? Damn. Dedicated to the founder of... Well... Finished, huh? I guess so. What's this? So happy you played? It's a really interesting game. What the hell? Overbite? Yeah, having an overbite is a crime. That's true. What the fuck is going on? Sarah? Wait, so... What? So you're telling me we killed Sarah? And in this play, like with this choice, we kill Sarah as well, and we get the Leviathan. I don't know. Yeah, they all just beat the shit out of each other. I mean, we can do this point again. I wonder what happens. I mean, GG's. That was the game, I guess. If there was no way to load the game at this point, that would have been it. But since there is another chance, I think, if it allows me to go for the other route. Let's see. Let's see. I'm not quite sure what the implications are. Are we like a how do you call it, like a messiah or something for the Dark Lord, because we did the sacrifice and that black shit got into us, right? It got into our body. Does that mean we have a special place? I don't know. Here we go again. I have to watch a YouTube video for this game, because I made a lot of choices in the game and it said this will affect your destiny.
Here you are at last,
but I don't think it did so far.
She was waiting for you.
You were waiting for me.
Yes. When I finally
not sure.
discovered the truth, I knew you would come. All this time I was fighting it, afraid of what I might discover, but I was afraid of myself.
It's coming.
What did you learn?
Listen to me, Edward Pierce, as I will deliver the truth.
Look around you. Everything is falling apart. You must stop this madness.
I can't make that choice. This will be your decision. One man only, prepared by the trials and revelations, holds the power to change the world. Because I saw you in the dreams I share with my God. I recognize you for what you are, a truth seeker. One of the rare humans who is able to perceive fragments of his mind.
Yes, yes.
I feel the truth in your words.
Because it was written. Or, as I like to see it, painted on the canvas of fate.
I'm an artist.
Help me!
Her voice. Yeah, I'm not particularly fond of most of the voice acting in this game. That's so loud. That's so loud. I don't understand why that's got to be so loud. He stomp. It sounded like he actually stumbled, like he was gonna trip and fall. The first step. I love how casual this is. It's just like, kind of places right here. Good luck with this. Perform the counter ritual. What's happening? Why would you stand in the middle of the circle? Why would you stand there? Oh shit. He's becoming emo? Oh, is he dead? Am I dead? Okay. The Fuller?
We doubled the dosage as you asked us to, Doctor.
Good, thank you.
Good. Sleeping pills. More. Successfully carry out the counter ritual. Okay. I kind of like the... No, the bad one. Oh, sleepy one. I like the bad ending, if you want to call it that. So, riddle me this. All the choices I made before this point didn't affect the ending at all. I think, right? Like, am I wrong about that? Maybe. I mean, it seemed very binary to me. Maybe there's a hidden one. Possible. But I'm just saying, like, it did all the small things I've decided throughout the game, and it said, "Oh, this will affect your destiny." How did it affect my destiny if the last choice is the thing that affects my destiny, right? Or is it more like is that a thing that means that yeah, I ate the pickle? I mean, if you gotta put a pickle, if you're gonna put a pickle in my face, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna chomp that shit down. Pickle Rick. Oh, you're dead. Pickle Rick. No, but seriously, I'm gonna watch a YouTube video. Call of Cthulhu. Endings? All 4 endings. Oh shit. It's over and sacrifice. Apparently there's 4 endings. I don't think I'm gonna be playing this game over, and I don't know. Maybe in a couple years I'll replay the game. It's Jover. It's Jover, guys. Call of Cthulhu, all 4 endings. Should we watch all the endings, or should we look up a review? Story explained. Should we do this?
Time for another foray into the world of H.P. Lovecraft. We've previously taken a look at the stories from Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth, along with The Sinking City, and now we're going to tackle Cyanide Studios.
Gaming Harry? That guy again. Oh man. Goddamn Gaming Harry.
Here we go, diving further down into the Cthulhu mythos rabbit hole. We've recently looked at other Lovecraftian horror titles such as The Baby in Yellow, and more recently
The Baby in Yellow? That must be a troll.
Released Dredge. Today though, we'll be looking at a game from 2005. Welcome to a video.
That's not the right one.
Time for another foray into the world.
It was
of
him
H.P.
already? It
Lovecraft.
was. I just couldn't that's funny because I couldn't recognize his voice. That's why I thought it wasn't him. Not joking.
Time for another foray into the world of H.P.
Because I'm used to his higher pitched voice, like the previous video. You know, like this one.
Video explaining the story that they considered him clinical.
And listen to him now.
H.P. Lovecraft. We've previously taken a look at the stories from Call of Cthulhu, Dark
That's very
Corners
similar,
of the
I
Earth,
guess.
along with The Sinking City, and now we're going to tackle Cyanide Studios' 2018 horror game, Call of Cthulhu. This was a game on the shorter side in comparison to the others at around 10 hours in length, but was still an interesting experience. I didn't enjoy it as much as Dark Corners of the Earth, but maybe that's just the nostalgia talking. The story was a little bit difficult to keep up with whilst playing the game, but everything was explained a little bit better through the in-game menu, along with small recaps at the start of each chapter.
I mean,
please be aware that
I wouldn't say it was really hard to follow. I think it's just the chronology of everything is a bit awkward, and the main thing, like the plot of the game itself, is a bit weird to follow. What is actually happening? What parts are actually real and what parts are in my head? It's not 100% clear. So I don't know.
there will be spoilers in this video for Call of Cthulhu. Below. It's the year 1924. Private investigator Edward Pierce has been experiencing horrific visions and nightmares. He numbs this with sleeping pills mixed with alcohol. He is working for his own agency, which is contracted to the Wentworth Agency, which helps solve cases in Boston. Edward wakes from his...
What's his accent? I could listen to him all day. This is British, right? Just plain old British. Oops, sorry.
Nightmare and speaks to someone from the agency over the phone. He claims that there aren't many cases available. The woman he speaks to, a Mrs. Sherrifield, debunks Edward's claim that there is a lack of cases available and tells him that there is plenty of work. He hangs up on her and someone comes to his door. Edward opens it and is greeted by a man named Stephen Webster. Webster is a wealthy industrialist and an art collector. He's there because he wants Edward to investigate the death of his daughter, Sarah Hawkins, who perished in a fire alongside her husband Charles and their 11-year-old son Simon at their home. He walks in with the only clue, a painting. Sarah was an artist, well known but considered to be tortured, and it was often reflected in her work. The painting brought in by Stephen Webster featured the image of a mysterious entity sporting a strange symbol. The entity appears to be threatening a woman and child. Webster thinks that the painting is linked to the death of his daughter. This is because the painting in question was painted by Sarah shortly before her death. After asking Webster...
Let's give my thoughts about this whole part. I think it was a good introduction to the game. It was a bit on the nose. Like, honestly, like the first thing you got is like this guy with a painting. Like, that's literally Sarah with someone, like her child, I guess, her son, scared of someone that's like clearly supernatural, and it almost looks like it has tentacles too. It's like a bit too game concept style. It's not a painting that you would make as an artist unless you're making a concept art for a game. You know what I mean? If the painting was just the inky guy, it would be more fun. Yeah, like it's a bit too on the nose. Like what is this? I didn't really like this part, and most of her paintings are just too literal. It's like, I don't know. It never seemed to me like it was an actual. It was an actual, like, artist making abstract, hallucinative paintings of a tortured scene or image. To me, it looks just literally like, yeah, game puzzle clue. Exactly. Like, you would see this and be like, your character would be like, I wonder if that's Sarah and her son. even though it's 100% clear it's Sarah and her son running away from their husband who's been deformed by Cthulhu. Too many relevant details. Yeah. I don't know. And then there's also the fire, you know, the fire behind them. So like they're running away from the I mean, it's a bit 2020, you know, like after the game. But at the start of the game, I was already like, why is this so non-abstract? Why is this so on the nose?
A mysterious entity sporting a strange symbol. The entity appears to be threatening a woman and child. Webster thinks that the painting is linked to the death of his daughter. This is because the painting in question was painted by Sarah shortly before her death. After asking Webster some questions, Edward boards a boat and travels towards the town where Sarah and her family lived, the town of Darkwater. Darkwater itself used to be a successful whaling town. I say used to, as in the year 1847, whales suddenly became more scarce. In 1847, a whaling ship known as the Scylla, now destroyed, returned to Darkwater with what was considered to be a miraculous catch. This catch effectively saved the island from famine.
That's also the thing is why is I don't want to be that guy, but why is a newspaper article, whatever that is, like a published article, so vague about the catch? Because all this time they imply it's a whale, you know, miraculous catch, and they're using the blubber and stuff. I read all the notes and stuff. Like they eat the meat and use the blubber and stuff, and it's like, so it is a whale, and then it's clearly not a whale. So why are people so cryptic about it, even before things change? You know, like wouldn't you the first few weeks, would you have already been affected by it so much that you would keep it hidden? Maybe they're already being influenced, maybe, but it didn't seem like that's part of the story. Yo, Kronos. It's going well. We just finished the game. At least we saw 2 endings, and I just want to give my thoughts about the game because it's a really good game. I would give it like a 7.5, almost an 8 out of 10. But there are some things that I didn't really get. It's not because it's complicated to get. It's just it's not my style or my way of doing the story that way.
Arriving in Darkwater on the Charybdis, Edward speaks to the ship's captain.
Currently, we're watching an explained video. Oh yeah, I have to do this actually. Chrome full screen.
A Captain Fitzroy. Fitzroy is the last surviving captain on.
In the story, it also just says it was mistaken for a giant whale. I mean, yeah. Yeah, but let's be honest. It's clearly not a giant whale. And if you're an objective writer for an article, wouldn't you just, you know, wouldn't you just, like, say it has tentacles or something, or it's like something that doesn't look like a whale at all, but they still ate it? I don't know.
On the island, he's the self-proclaimed expert on anything that is going on in Darkwater. He tells Edward that the best place...
Listen, I get that they are making it cryptic, okay? I'm just saying, if you're reading a story written by H.P. Lovecraft, it makes sense that he keeps things cryptic and a bit like secretive, and he has a way of communicating the details that might be, you know, he's hiding some details because later on it will be more clear, like something was really off about the meat. It wasn't actually a whale, you know. I get that. It's a way of like creating tension and creating mystery and stuff. But in this game, it didn't seem like there was that. It was just, it was a miraculous catch. And then you see like different types of meat being eaten, and it doesn't even look like it's from the whale, to be honest. Like those little things that they eat, like little squids with like green tentacles and stuff. That doesn't look like it's from the whale itself, or from the Leviathan itself.
place for him to start his investigation would be a nearby bar called the Stranded Whale. Going off of an address on a shipping label in the case file, Edward gets to work in trying to find out the location of a Warehouse 36. Edward speaks to a police officer, an Officer Bradley. He's guarding a large orca, which has not only recently washed up on the dock, but has also been attacked by something very large. The officers are trying to put it back into the water, but the fishermen are protesting against it, claiming that the killer whale is a sign of something bad coming and that it will bring about the end of the world. Bradley says that the fishermen will only listen to Captain Fitzroy. He also tells Edward not to go anywhere near Warehouse 36, but he doesn't elaborate as to why. Edward goes to speak with Fitzroy. It turns out that the shipwreck in the harbour, the Scylla, is a ship that belonged to Charles Hawkins. Fitzroy gives Edward the cargo manifest from the Scylla. They've been signed by Charles Hawkins, but someone has blacked out some of the documents. Edward also finds a photo of a man that looks strikingly similar to Captain Fitzroy. Fitzroy says that this is a photo of his father, hence the wooden leg. Anyway, Fitzroy claims to know nothing about why the manifests are unreadable. He does mention that Charles Hawkins could potentially have been taking on other contracts. Fitzroy then points out Warehouse 36 to Edward. The warehouse is revealed to have belonged to Charles Hawkins. Before going to the warehouse, Edward stops for the Stranded Whale. He meets with various locals, but one particular person of interest is a woman named Kat Baker. She is the leader of a gang of bootleggers, which doesn't seem interested in anything Edward has to say, so he heads towards the warehouse. Kat herself, along with her gang, are actually at odds with Captain Fitzroy, as his men, the fishermen in the port, have been provoking her men, so she sent Fitzroy a threatening...
She's pretty cute, but she looks like an e-girl. She doesn't look like she belongs there. But I guess that's the whole point of her character.
letter. She also mentioned that Fitzroy should just make his payment to the carrier. Arriving at the rear entrance to the warehouse, Edward sees two of the bootlegger gang guarding it. It seems they have an interest in it, likely guarding their racket in an adjacent warehouse. Depending on what Edward manages to say or do, he can either go through the guards or find another way in. The other way is through a different warehouse. He enters an underground area which is filled with a strange greenish yellow gas derived from a mysterious kind of oil.
Yeah, so
avoiding it.
That's the thing, is I couldn't get into here. I was on bad terms with Kat because I made some wrong first impression. I made a wrong first impression with her, and then for some reason they could hear me when I was trying to enter the warehouse through the grate, and they stopped me and punched me in my stomach. And then I went back into the thingy whale, whatever it's called, the drunken whale, the bar, and I talked to her again, and she was like, okay, fine, you can enter. Okay. That also didn't make a lot of sense to me, why she would let me enter after I tried to just,
what Edward
get it in
to
myself.
Say or do, he can either go through the guards or find another way in. The other way is through a different warehouse. He enters an underground area.
The guards wouldn't let me through anyway. I don't know how you'd be able to get through the guards.
Which is filled with a strange greenish yellow gas derived from a mysterious kind of oil. Avoiding it, Edward moves through a water-filled tunnel and is attacked by a creature which subjects him to another disturbing vision.
Whoa.
He also discovers ancient markings on the walls.
He
He
then
then gains
stuck
entry
in.
into Warehouse 36. Inside, he uses an ability to reconstruct a previous scene and finds signs of someone having punched a mirror in frustration, resulting in bloody bandages, along with that someone sleeping in there next to a photo of Charles and Sarah Hawkins, and also a painting, one of Sarah's paintings. And finally, a newspaper article featuring a story on, you guessed it, Sarah Hawkins. Officer Bradley enters the warehouse, and despite being unhappy about Charles being in there, he spots the painting and mentions that it was in the Hawkins manor when they investigated the fire there. The painting has since been removed from the crime scene. Bradley agrees that what Edward discovered is significant, and after being threatened by Kat Baker, they both leave by car to reach the Hawkins mansion, which sits on top of a hill. Arriving at the Hawkins mansion, Edward and Officer Bradley, we'll call him Ethan, see the graves of the family.
I'm gonna be honest, I like the officer the most. Like, he seemed, honestly, he seemed like the most believable character, Officer Bradley. The rest seemed a bit too overacted. I mean, he's a cliche, but he actually seemed believable. And the voice acting was kind of funny and not over the top, even though, you know, it's a cliche still. I don't know. I think it worked. He kind of worked for me.
Itself is boarded up, but upon finding a side door, Edward is confronted by a man who is the caretaker of the property, a Silas Winchester, who threatens Edward with an axe. Edward tells the man he is working for Sarah's father, and eventually the man backs off, giving Edward a key for the door. Entering the property, Edward and Ethan enter a dining room where Edward investigates and surmises that a disagreement took place between the child
that's what I meant.
And Sarah
Like, they were eating the meat here.
Not only that,
but look, this meat looks like its own thing. It's not like cut up piece from the Leviathan. It looks like a little squid baby or something, which, you know, it doesn't look like an actual squid. It looks kind of otherworldly and shit, but you see what I mean? It's not like open flesh. It's its own thing. What is this? Call of Cthulhu? Yeah, it's a game. We finished the game. We are watching a review, and I'm giving my final thoughts about the game. Or review. It's more like an explanation of the game and the story.
Strange meat sits on the table. Edward finds a number of items which show that Charles Hawkins liked to explore and travel, leading to the assumption that his inherited fortune was frittered away on these trips. Moving on to another room, where the fire took place, Edward discovers that a number of things could have happened. Edward finds evidence that Charles had been drinking, and that the oil lamp wasn't just smashed but was thrown, and the fire spread. The young son Simon perished in the fire, as did Sarah and Charles, but Edward finds signs that someone managed to run out of the room. Charles also finds the spot where the stolen painting had been hanging. Moving further into the mansion, Edward discovers many things. He discovers a letter of complaint from one of Sarah's clients to Charles, stating that her behavior has become erratic. In their child Simon's bedroom, it appears that the kid has been having some strange visions himself. This led to Charles and Sarah giving Simon sleeping pills. He also finds a sales ledger for Sarah's paintings. Most recently, Sarah appeared to have given a painting away for free to a man with the initials FS, a gift, a painting called The Shambler. Entering an attic which is full of old paintings, Edward finds a painting of himself. Understandably intrigued, Edward is then surprised by a hooded individual who runs past him, and Edward gives chase. Ethan didn't see the man at all, but after going to an office, Edward discovers a map with some coordinates, along with a photo of Charles Hawkins, Captain Fitzroy, and a third, unidentified man. Edward also discovers a secret doorway behind a bookcase which leads down underground. He comes across a room where, in a reconstruction, Edward is able to surmise that a meeting took place and that Sarah spied on it. These people had been studying strange symbols and objects of an esoteric nature. Further into the caves, Edward finds more ancient drawings on the cave walls depicting what seemed to be a city.
Ancient drawings. No offense, this looks like a kid's drawing. It's like, look at the fish. And so, I don't know. This whole thing was a bit weird to me. The drawings on the walls, they were a bit weird. Like, it didn't look like they were ancient or anything. It's just someone was scribbling down there.
Going even further into the caves, Edward finds bottles of the strange oily substance that he encountered underneath the warehouse. He then comes across an altar with the painting of himself on it. Taking a closer look, Edward is grabbed from behind by someone. They both end up falling down into a hole where Edward is surrounded by deceased sea life. He starts to freak out, so he quickly leaves the area, and he stumbles across a bunch of cultists. It seems the person that attacked Edward was one of these cultists. This cult are taking part in a ritual of some sort, and some other cultists appear to have died as a result. I say appear as they actually seem to be in some kind of coma. They seem to have been sacrificed. Then Edward comes across a small group of cultists chanting. Ethan appears, and his loud mouth gets himself and Edward into a lot of trouble. The cultist leader approaches Ethan, and Ethan shoots him. The cult leader is revealed to be a very different and mutant-looking Charles Hawkins. Charles then attacks Ethan, fatally wounding him. Edward runs in an attempt to escape, and Charles causes a cave-in to occur. Edward has to run for his life. He nearly makes it out of the caves, but is injured by falling debris. Nonetheless, Edward can see an exit, so he limps towards it, but he's halted by yet another cave-in. Edward is then rushed to the Riverside Institute in critical condition. The Riverside Institute is a huge mental hospital run by a Dr. Fuller. The nurse injects Edward with something, and Charles suffers a seizure and starts to see horrifying visions. What's more is that when Charles comes round again, he sees a fully alive and not even injured Ethan. Despite being disemboweled by Charles Hawkins, he is fit and healthy.
Yeah, I didn't quite get what happened here. Did he get healed by Dr. Fuller through some supernatural medicine? Maybe we'll explain it in the explained, like in this video. But I didn't really. There were a few characters I couldn't really follow, like how they like what their story was in the end. What they ended up being or doing.
Edward starts to freak out again and is injected once more by Dr. Fuller. Edward then wakes up inside a padded cell. Across from him, he sees a blinded man called Francis Sanders being led out of his cell. Sanders is talking about the fact that he can't leave his cell as it will see him, that he doesn't want it to find him. Despite Sanders' protestations, he is taken from his cell and led away. Sometime later, whilst Edward is asleep, he has a dream in which he is walking through a hospital ward and encounters patients in beds, and he hears a deep and otherworldly voice communicating with him. Edward's dream sees himself walking towards a massive door which is locked shut. Something large bursts through the door, and then Edward wakes up. A doctor approaches
That's the door
him,
that we
a doctor
broke,
called Dr.
by the
Marie
way.
Colden, who tells Edward that
It's
she
where
is
the
afraid of
Leviathan was.
Ethan. She says that they don't have much time and that Edward needs to leave as soon as possible. Edward tries to push Dr. Colden for more information on what is happening there at the Institute, but she doesn't share much. After getting changed, Edward checks out Sanders' cell. It's covered in elder signs. Fuller had been injecting Sanders too. The name Sarah is scrawled on the walls as well, as she was an authorized visitor. Then another scrawled message on the wall states the paintings are cursed. Edward sees Dr. Colden being escorted upstairs. Charles, in his efforts to get upstairs, discovers many things. There are strange experiments going on at the Institute. Tucked away from the rest of the Institute is a way to hide whatever is going on. Edward finds the medical record of Francis Sanders. It seems he actually gouged his own eyes out, and along with that, it was Francis's own wife Irene that had him interned there at the Institute after he showed signs of madness. He finds Sarah Hawkins' medical record too. Appears that she too was interned there after suffering fits of insanity. Edward also sees some strange rotting flesh inside some cylinders, and those cylinders are hooked up to a device that seem to feed a liquid into patients. He sees a hallucinogenic gas being pumped into the inmates' cells too. On his way upstairs, Edward comes across Francis Sanders. Edward tells Sanders that he'll untie him and they can get away. But Sanders isn't so keen on going anywhere because it will find him as it found him there. He mentions that the it he's referring to is some sort of beast. Sanders says that he isn't scared of Dr. Fuller, as Fuller actually seems to want to heal him and restore his sight. Sanders, however, told Fuller that he didn't want to see it again. He mentions Sarah and her accursed painting. This is the painting listed in Sarah's ledger. Sanders mentions the Shambler, the beast that he's been referring to. Some unseen force then brutally kills Sanders. Edward then goes to head upstairs but is knocked out by the...
Have a good night, Kaylee. I didn't really like this, like how Sanders died here.
Sarah and her accursed...
It reminds me, you know what this game reminds me of a bit? Like some parts of it remind me of Outlast, where things are happening that are supernatural and people are flying and shit. Like this guy's literally flying up in the air and then he gets killed in the air. It's like, what was that necessary? I guess to show off that it's supernatural. But couldn't he have just died from a seizure or something where you wouldn't have been able to guess if it was supernatural or not, so you can keep that feeling of the main character is going crazy or something's actually happening. Like part of the allure of this story is it's a conspiracy story, right? But a lot of the storytelling is very clear cut. It's clearly happening. So I wish they would play a bit more into that conspiracy theory part where they keep things a bit more abstract, more symbolic. And it would leave you guessing if it's actually happening or not and stuff. I don't know. That's me though.
And goes to head upstairs but is knocked out by the gas. Ethan is standing over him and both he and Dr. Colden take Edward back to the Hawkins mansion. And then you hide out. After dreaming of a huge squid-like creature, Edward wakes up and goes to talk to
That's
Ethan
so
and Dr.
cute.
Colden. After dreaming of a huge squid-like...
This was so cute. I couldn't tell if it was huge or not. I guess it looks kind of big, but it also looks like Hawkins's next evolution. You know, like if Hawkins would evolve a bit more or mutate a bit more, he would get this face, like more squid-like. Cephalopod. More cephalopod-like.
Creature, Edward wakes up and goes to talk to Ethan and Dr. Colden. It seems that Ethan doesn't remember many of the details of his supposed death and appears to know nothing of Charles Hawkins' miraculous recovery and
that's what I'm saying.
Transformation.
This guy, like, he's suddenly fully healed and there's nothing, like, that's conspiracy theory, like, what's happening? But I never fully figured out what happened to the officer.
Ethan doesn't even remember the tunnels underneath the mansion. Dr. Colden says that the Riverside Institute was founded in 1904 by Dr. Fuller's father, who was a surgeon on board the Scylla. The institute was funded by the Hawkins family. Then, Fuller Sr. passed away, and Thomas Fuller succeeded him. She shares that Captain Fitzroy's father was also aboard the Scylla. Edward tells the pair that his next plan is to visit the wife, now the widow of Francis Sanders, Irene. Ethan says that Francis was an art collector. Edward travels to the Sanders residence. Being welcomed in, Edward sees that gang leader Cat Baker is also there. After some jibes thrown at each other, Edward asks Irene about Sarah Hawkins. It seems that Irene wasn't too fond of Sarah or her paintings. She tells Edward that she wasn't allowed to see Francis whilst he was in hospital. Hell, it turns out that she wasn't even allowed to obtain Francis's body, as Dr. Fuller had her sign a discharge allowing him to dispose of Francis's body as he saw fit. Edward asks Irene about the Shambler, and she reveals that the Shambler is a painting, and it's located at the centre of the gallery within their home. Irene offers for Edward to go and take a look at it, and she plans to get rid of the painting. With the painting being his only lead, Edward goes to the gallery to take a look. On the way, Edward finds a voice recording from Francis telling his wife to burn all the paintings. He mentions that he keeps seeing something even when he shuts his eyes. Further evidence shows that Sarah didn't want Francis to have the painting. She knew what it was.
Yep.
But why does she just give it him for free? Edward speaks with Cat Baker. She is there to help Irene sell her late husband's art collection. Entering the gallery, Edward sees a plethora of artifacts collected by Francis. One in particular, a knife which seems to be ritualistic in nature. Edward approaches the accursed painting. All the shutters slam shut, and something starts to emerge from the painting. This is the Shambler.
I didn't love the design of the Shambler. It was okay, I guess. Like, it's true to its name. I wish it was more hidden.
The Shambler hunts Edward. He runs over to the dagger he saw earlier, grabs it and runs towards the painting. He drives the dagger into it and the grotesque beast is pulled back into the painting. It grabs Edward, who manages to free himself before the Shambler is pulled back in. But Edward notices that something isn't right with his hand. He thinks he needs to cut it off, but he's saved from gravely injuring himself after being interrupted by Cat. Curious to know more about the dagger that saved his life, Cat tells Edward that he should seek out an antiques dealer on the island by the name of Algernon Drake. He'll know all about the dagger since he was the one that sold the dagger to Francis Sanders. He's also an expert on esoteric phenomena. As a side note, the dagger was imbued with the Elder Sign. Edward heads to the nameless bookstore owned by Drake, and arriving he discovers that the place has been broken into. Someone was here and they were definitely looking for something. A specific book. Through some detective's intuition, Edward finds the safe protected by an Elder Sign and realizes that Charles Hawkins wanted what was inside the safe, but he couldn't handle the Elder Sign. Upon opening the safe, he discovers that the book that Charles was looking for was a book known as the Necronomicon, which Sarah Hawkins helped hide. The Necronomicon is also known as the
Necronomicon? No, it's Necronomicon, bruh. Necronomicon.
Book of the Dead, and which Sarah Hawkins helped hide. The Necronomicon is also known as the Book of the Dead and is covered in human skin. It's likely one of the things that Charles Hawkins travelled the world looking for.
Necromicon.
Edward reads the book and experiences an out-of-body experience.
Look, this is funny. I was actually trying to read this.
Edward reads the book and experiences...
There's some Arabic here. Can't quite read it. I think Reddit... There's actually 2 Arabic parts. There's some below as well, the half moon. So like this part is Arabic. And this whole section here on the inside is Arabic. Have a good night, Spanish. You can read Arabic. I'm not good at it, but yeah, I can read some Arabic.
Is an out-of-body experience.
My parents are Arabic, and I learned a bit of Arabic myself.
He is now inside the mind of Marie Colden at the Riverside Institute. Dr. Colden is talking to a nurse and Dr. Fuller is there, having an animated conversation with Captain Fitzroy. Dr. Colden sees to a patient, Mr. Blake, who appears to be in a catatonic state. His temperature has been dropping, his skin is drying out, and his body is rigid. The nurse says that Dr. Fuller has taken the patient's file, meaning that Mr. Blake's true illness
Arabic's
is being
fun.
kept from them. The nurse states that
It's
when
a bit
they
hard,
the
but
patient,
if you
he seemed to feel
once
better,
it clicks,
like a
I think Arabic is not
recovery, but
not
then
horrible
regressed
to
again when
learn.
putting him back into bed. His bones are soft and he has sticky rings growing on his fingertips. Confronting Fuller about the man's
I like
symptoms
Arabic
and
too.
exhibiting the
Not because
characteristics of an
no, like Arabic is as a written language, it's really beautiful. But I also think just the expressions you can do in Arabic are fun. It has, almost every language has its own way of expressing, and Arabic is kind of obscure. It seems very, how do you say this? Like ancient. Arabic is an ancient language, and there's some parts of it that you can still notice. It's like, damn, there's something in there that's I don't know, that's very old, and it's just thousands of years old. You can kind of feel that in the language, and that's kind of cool, I think.
Animal. Fuller plays them off as Dr. Colden overreacting. Intrigued enough, Dr. Colden sets out to find what Dr. Fuller is hiding.
So, I think this is where you stopped, right? Faces? This is where you stopped yourself. But, yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. I don't know if you want to keep watching this. But, yeah, you'll get back to the hospital. That's kind of interesting.
Dr. Colden needs to get the medical files from Dr. Fuller's office. Also there at the Riverside Institute is Ethan. He's complaining of headaches and insomnia. As well as that, he's been suffering from nightmares to such an extent that he believes himself to be going mad. Ethan suspects that it might be connected to what Fuller is doing. Dr. Colden reveals that everyone on the island is suffering from nightmares. More patients on the ward reveal that Fuller has been able to miraculously heal people, even saving this lady's kidney when removal of the organ seemed inevitable. Irene
probably
Sanders
never
is
finished it
also
anyway.
there. She's there
Okay.
for psychiatric care. Dr. Colden manages to make it to Fuller's office and finds a multitude of interesting stuff. She finds a photo of Dr. Fuller's father taken in the year 1849, and the father-son resemblance is uncanny. Dr. Colden finds the patient files along.
What is up with that? So Captain Fitzroy and Dr. Fuller both have fathers that are themselves, basically. Or they have not aged since.
With a recording of an interview between Dr. Fuller and Sarah Hawkins, where Dr. Fuller mentions Sarah
And Captain Fitzroy's leg has healed. He had a wooden leg. So something is off with them. I never got an explanation for that, like, while playing the game, so
his understanding of something called the mythos. Then it reveals a scene in which Dr. Fuller injects Sarah, followed by a meeting between Fuller and Fitzroy. Dr. Colden tries to work out the connection between them and Sarah Hawkins. She then discovers a partially burned shoe which belonged to Sarah, meaning that Sarah's body was probably there at the Institute. It was determined that Fuller had a slight obsession with Sarah Hawkins' abilities. Most notably, he believed Frances to be suffering from Stendhal syndrome, a psychosomatic condition involving fainting, hallucinations and confusion, which occurs when exposed to artwork amongst other objects. Dr. Colden realizes that the heart of Dr. Fuller's work lies down in the basement, so she heads downstairs. However, she is attacked and knocked out by Dr. Fuller. Edward returns to his own mind again and finds Algernon Drake there. Drake calls Edward a fool, saying that now he's read the book, he has seen him, and that Edward won't be able to escape his will. Nonetheless, Drake says that the Necronomicon chose to show Edward Dr. Colden's life for a reason. So, Edward tells Drake he's going to the Institute to try and save the Doctor. Edward can choose whether Drake tags along on his investigation or not, but regardless, Edward arrives at the Institute and Drake heads to the Hawkins mansion. Sneaking around the Institute, Edward is chased by the Shambler, and once safe, he appears to be able to travel between two different versions of the Institute.
That's the thing, is the first time you get into the hospital, you're playing as, is it Colden? It's like the nurse. The second time you play it, you're back being...
And once safe, he appears to be able to travel
back being Edward
to the Hawkins mansion. Sneaking around the Institute, Edward is chased by the Shambler, and once safe, he appears to be able to travel between two different versions of the Institute, one shining green and the other containing an otherworldly mist. Edward hears an otherworldly voice, almost as if it's guiding him, and the voice is asking him to free them. Eventually, he leaves the alternate versions of the Institute and heads down.
That part of the game was really trippy. It's really hard as well. Like, it's really hard to understand where to go, but I figured it out. It's just awkward. For me, the mechanics went clear. It was fine. I wasn't stuck for too long, but it's kind of trippy. You know, like, that's part of the game, I guess. They wanted you to be like, what the fuck's going on?
Stairs. He is clearly still tripping as he walks down what appears to be an endless corridor and sees himself in one of the cells, and then inside it starts to freak out again. He hallucinates some more and sees Dr. Colden. He walks towards her and she tells him...
she's a doctor, not nurse. Sorry, doctor. I won't call you nurse.
That she found Sarah Hawkins and that Charles must live and find out the truth. She says that it is already too late for her.
Why is she kind of cute though?
Walking through the door in front of him, Edward finds that Marie Colden is dead, killed by Fuller, and he's experimenting on her. Edward confronts Fuller, who tells Edward that he wishes he could have done more experiments on him while he was there. Then, as Edward is about to shoot Fuller, Marie springs back to life and stops him. However, when Edward comes to, Marie is, sure enough, stone dead. What on earth is happening on Darkwater Island? It gets wackier though. Whilst exploring the Institute some more, Edward comes across someone he never thought he'd meet. It's Sarah Hawkins, fully alive. She's not all there. She snaps out of whatever trance she's in when Edward shows her son's toy soldier. She's talking utter gibberish about her and someone else's minds melting together. But the crazy thing is, if Edward's sanity is low enough on account of the horrific and unfathomable things he's seen, he understands what she means, saying that he has experienced the same thing. Sarah agrees to leave with Edward.
That's how I responded to Sarah too, by the way. I kept using the unspoken tongue.
Why was Dr. Fuller, and by extension Charles Hawkins, trying to hide her away from the world by keeping her there? Whilst escaping, they're spotted by some guards and have to run for it, and they eventually block a door and reach a boiler room. Inside said boiler room is the system used to deliver the gas which is being pumped into the inmates' cells. Edward shuts it off. Just as this was done though, and like clockwork, Charles Hawkins shows up. Sarah tells Charles that she is no longer his puppet. Charles uses his freaky squid arm to choke Edward out and tells him that Sarah's power is the greatest danger to herself, that she's seen things and that she's more dangerous than Charles. And that's why he had her kept there at the Institute, to protect her from the cult and from the influence of the myth. He also says that she's been in the presence of the myth for too long. He says that the cult will always be there on Darkwater. If Sarah succumbs to the cult, she will lose her free will and will eventually surrender to his power, whoever he is, and that the world will fall as a result.
This part, like this scene in the game, took so long. It was literally 5 minutes of him holding me up and, you know, choking me. Like literally, like this animation.
Sarah succumbs to the cult
for 5 minutes long almost.
Free will and will eventually surrender to his power.
He was having a monologue for so long. It's so stupid. I didn't get why there was. Why couldn't he have had his monologue before or after?
Power, whoever he is, and that the world will fall as a result. Then Sarah sticks Charles and wounds him, and Edward finishes him off. Returning to the Hawkins mansion after helping Sarah pay her respects to her son, she opens up to Edward. It was her work that lured her to Darkwater Island in the first place. She was shown things that she should never have painted, and that Charles shouldn't have seen them either. It was Charles that attacked her on the evening of the fire. She threw a lamp at him and he caught fire running off. It was the estate's caretaker Silas Winchester who found Sarah and saved her. On the other hand, Charles attempted to steal the Necronomicon from Drake's safe, and that was when he transformed into the creature we see him as. After more weird dreams involving a fishy creature, Edward wakes up and speaks with Sarah. Speaking with her, she states that she needs to kill the Wanderer, her word for the Shambler. Interestingly, Sarah had an encounter with the Shambler herself during a ritual, and using the Necronomicon, she attempted to banish the creature, but she was disturbed by Charles and the ritual failed. Edward agrees to get rid of the Shambler himself. Speaking with Algernon Drake, Edward learns of an amulet. The amulet can help Sarah to resist.
I don't remember this part.
She was disturbed by Charles and the ritual failed. Edward agrees to get rid of the Shambler himself. Speaking with Algernon Drake, Edward learns of an amulet.
That.
The amulet can help Sarah to resist the influences of the myth and the cult. It's called the Key of Relia. Relia being the sunken city in which the great old one Cthulhu lies entombed
It's really
asleep. Engraved on the amulet is the Elder Sign. Drake explains that Sarah has a connection to creatures that live beyond her reality. When she created the Shambler painting, she inadvertently summoned it. Anyway, their plan only grows their need for the Key of Relia, as to help banish the creature, Algernon will need protection from it. The amulet will allow this. Charles hid it somewhere in the mansion. After some more investigation, Edward finds it and returns it to Algernon. Now they have everything they need, Edward speaks to Sarah, who has agreed to stay there, and he gets ready to leave. However, upon leaving the mansion, Edward is arrested by the chief of police, as they say he started the fire at the Riverside Institute. Now locked up, Edward hears the otherworldly voice in his head again. Suffering another hallucination, Edward sees the cells flooding, and once underwater, he is approached by the owner of the voice. They introduce themselves as Leviathan. Leviathan is one of the Starspawn of Cthulhu, one of his offspring.
Yeah.
Leviathan speaks to Edward about embracing someone's power. They ask where the Oracle, Sarah, is. Leviathan then projects Edward's mind into the mind of Sarah Hawkins. She is with Algernon Drake. Turns out they left the mansion together to go after the Shambler after Edward got arrested. They then arrive at the bootlegger's den. It's an abandoned mine. As we learned earlier, Cat Baker's gang had moved Francis Sanders' art collection to their cave to export off of the island, and that obviously includes the Shambler painting. Sarah passed out but came to again not long after. She enters into the bootlegger's mine, where a lot of the bootlegger crew have been brutally maimed. This is the work of the Shambler. Sarah then comes across Algernon, Cat, and what's left of her gang. Cat decides to betray her colleague and locks him and Algernon in the area to save herself. The Shambler reappears and takes the gang member out. Sarah and Drake get to work. Wearing the amulet, Drake draws the barrier as a safe zone. Sarah needs to destroy 3 glyphs which the Shambler uses to travel. Whilst avoiding certain death by the Shambler, Sarah achieves her goal and destroys the glyphs. Then Sarah draws the Shambler into the trap, and it is pulled back into the painting again. The beast grabs Algernon, attempting to drag him back with it. Sarah may or may not save Algernon, but either way the job is done and the dimensional Shambler is gone.
I saved him.
The problem is that since Sarah wasn't wearing the amulet, this took a lot of strength from her, and as a result, she has succumbed to the call of the myth. Edward, now back in his own mind, as you'd imagine, is fuming. Chief West learns of trouble in the port. Chaos has ensued and the stranded whale, along with other places, have been ransacked. This is just the beginning. The 2 officers then leave. Not long afterwards, Edward hears Leviathan again. It seems that Edward is losing his mind, and fast. Whatever is happening to him, he's succumbing to it. Leviathan takes Edward on a journey, giving him another look at what has already happened. He has shown Ethan succumbing to the madness, and Sarah painting a picture of Edward. Edward is then thrown into the mind of Cat Baker. Seems that these 2 men killed Chief West and left his body in one of the bootleggers' warehouses. Cat goes and has a look and finds that West was indeed murdered by someone, but not the 2 men. A symbol belonging to the cult is there in the warehouse. What's more, multiple cult members were there. A pack of cigarettes leads Cat to suspect that Chief West was actually killed by Captain Fitzroy. It turns out that Fitzroy is the high priest of the...
Can I ask one thing about the game? I want to be an annoying bitch, but why does everyone have the same detective capabilities as Edward Pierce? How can Sarah Hawkins, Dr. Colden, and now Cat, how can they all have this investigative investigative skill where they can, you know, like summon the images and stuff, like the scenes of things happening. I guess, I don't know. It made no sense to me. And yeah, whatever. It's part of the game. No idea. And Pierce's skills, like his character skills, some of them also applied during the gameplay, even if you were a different character. So for example, spot hidden works even for other characters, which is kind of interesting. I never fully, like, it's just a game mechanics choice, but game design choice. Just, I wish they would, like, you know, there's that transition when you switch to a different body. You saw that before, like, where is it? Can I see it somewhere?
Sarah painting a look at Edward here and sack of trouble. Edward, now back in his own mind, as you'd imagine, is fuming. Chief West learns of trouble in the port. She has succumbed to the call of the myth.
Blah, blah, blah.
Fuming play after whatever is was already happened. He has shown Ethan succumbing to the madness, and Sarah painting a picture of Edward. Edward is then thrown into the mind of...
you get this cutscene of you traveling through the bodies of, I think, everyone on Darkwater or something. I don't know. Like, there's something here, right? It's kind of an interesting transition. And to me, it kind of almost felt like, hey, now that I'm a different character, I have different capabilities, different properties. But no, it's just, you're Edward Pierce, but they had to have a transition between you and playing some other character.
Of Cat Baker.
Sadly.
Seems that these two men killed Chief West and left his body in one of the bootleggers' warehouses. Cat goes and has a look and finds that West was indeed murdered by someone, but not the two men. A symbol belonging to the cult is there in the warehouse. What's more, multiple cult members were there. A pack of cigarettes leads Cat to suspect that Chief West was actually killed by Captain Fitzroy. It turns out that Fitzroy is the high priest of the cult, and Sarah is also with them. Then it all kicks off. Gunshots are heard and the local fishermen have been influenced by Leviathan to attack Cat. She shoots her way out of the warehouse and finds everyone outside succumbing to the madness as well. Edward is sent back to his own mind and Ethan is there. He helps Edward out by freeing him, but he seems to be giving into the madness himself. He tells Edward that Sarah went in the direction of the whaling station in the port. After choosing whether or not to shoot Ethan, Edward leaves the police station. Making it to the port, the Leviathan-inspired fishermen are still hostile, so after shooting them or simply sneaking around them, Edward makes it to Fitzroy's place. An old sea map triggers a residual image, a meeting in regard to the miraculous catch. It seems that Charles Hawkins, Dr. Fuller, and Captain Fitzroy were all on board the Scylla, but that was back in 1847. Just how old are Hawkins, Fuller, and Fitzroy? Some strange meat lies on the table, the same meat as was on the table at the Hawkins mansion. Leviathan speaks and tells Edward that they ate his flesh. This is the flesh of Leviathan, and that flesh granted the three men powers, revelations, and immortality. It even grew back Fitzroy's leg. This was also the meat in the Riverside Institute. The meat produced oil, and Fuller was in...
So, wait, what?
Mansion. Leviathan speaks and tells Edward
You're gonna
that they
hunt
ate his flesh.
Twiggy, you're gonna... Do you have a threesome? A threesome? Do you have three people to play hunt with?
This is the flesh of Leviathan.
I think I'm going to play the finals soon after I finish watching this.
And that flesh granted the three men powers, revelations, and immortality. It even grew back Fitzroy's leg. This was also the meat in the Riverside Institute. The meat produced oil, and Fuller was injecting patients with this oil. He was saving their lives, but at a very high cost to the sufferer, as they too would begin to change. Fuller wanted to be able to resurrect people and by extension, to create life itself. Fuller wanted to become a god. This oil is also the substance in the jars, and is the oil referenced in the poster referring to the miraculous catch. Edward also discovers that Sarah Hawkins viewed Edward as some sort of savior, and Charles forbade her from approaching the cult. Sarah Hawkins essentially lured Edward to the island. Leviathan then tells Edward to track Sarah and to track the truth. From these images, it seems that Leviathan wanted to be caught in order to set certain events in motion by having the inhabitants of the island eat its flesh, which caused them to abandon their free will. With those residual images in his mind, Edward discovers a badly injured Cat Baker there. She asks him to get a medical kit for her. Edward finds one and helps Kat. As a side note, he can also choose to help the bar owner Roy instead. But Kat tells him that the entrance to the whaling station is behind the Hawkins warehouse. Edward heads there and has to avoid lots of fishermen who are possessed by Leviathan.
Yes.
Inside the whaling station, Edward sees the door that he dreamt about. He also finds
this is the spot where we started today.
ship's logs detailing the miraculous catch and how events transpired. Edward finds a way through the door, and inside the whaling station is Leviathan. Even looking at the large creature is enough to mess with Edward's sanity. Leviathan is linked by its dreams to the Great Cthulhu, and its one goal is to facilitate the freeing of the Great Old One. Its dreams serve to bring about madness and insanity until the people it affects are its puppets. The cult were chopping off Leviathan's flesh and were feeding it to the town. The townsfolk eating the star spawn founded the cult shortly afterwards, calling themselves the Cult of Cthulhu, and you can see where this is headed. Edward pushes on through the whaling station and sees visions of Sarah Hawkins and Dr. Fuller. He sees the cult feasting on the flesh and can choose to partake himself. In this hallucination, Edward pulls a gun on Dr. Fuller and shoots him.
I don't think
discovers that
he had a
shot
choice
him for
there.
real. A necessary sacrifice, according to Leviathan. Leviathan then induces another hallucination, and Edward inadvertently sets off an explosion, destroying the whaling station and freeing Leviathan. Edward is confronted by a few cultists during his escape, along with Fitzroy. A tense standoff takes place, but Edward escapes by falling into the water. Whilst underwater, Edward comes face to face with Leviathan, who tells Edward to call him, and then Leviathan swims away. Edward washes up on the coastline near Alabaster Point. After more visions, Edward arrives at the meeting place of the cult. A vicious storm is brewing and a large tentacle sways from beyond the veil. The cult are seemingly prepared for something. Sarah Hawkins is there, and she tells Edward that one man, prepared by the trials and tribulation he's experienced, now holds the power to change the world, and that man is Edward. Sarah had seen Edward in the dreams she shares with the one who sleeps. The cultists then start chanting, and one of them brings forward a ritualistic dagger. And depending on the choices he made, Edward now...
I only had two options, the two left options, perform the counter ritual, and I will perform the ritual. I didn't get the it's over.
...has a choice. If Edward managed to shield himself from the occult and hadn't descended into insanity, Sarah Hawkins will not be able to break Edward's free will. As a result, she steps off the cliff edge, falling to her death. Returning to Boston afterwards, Edward is seen in his office, drunk, and very affected by the events he'd gone through on Darkwater Island. He sits staring at a painting depicting Sarah's death. If Edward had completely lost it, he can choose to pull the plug on life. This stops the cult from performing the ritual. Back in Boston, Edward's office is being cleared out as a result of his death, of which a painting depicts. Back during Sarah's battle with the Shambler, if she chose to save Algernon Drake, he will be there with the cult and held captive. Edward frees Drake by shooting Fitzroy through the eye, and Drake performs a counter ritual leading to the cult disappearing along with the storm. However, this comes at a cost to Edward as he descends into full insanity and ends up as a patient at the Riverside Institute being treated by Dr. Fuller, meaning that after Edward shot him in the whaling station, he was likely resurrected using the oil of Leviathan, or Fuller was just a hallucination. Providing Edward lost enough of his sanity, he can choose to go along with the ritual. Using the ritualistic dagger, Edward's blood spills onto the ground and the storm picks up. Then the Great Old One, Cthulhu, is summoned. This causes everyone present there to go absolutely mental, and they fight and kill one another. Edward looks on and kills Sarah. The game then ends. Okay, so there are a couple of things not touched upon that need covering before we close this video out. In terms of Charles and Sarah Hawkins and that fateful night regarding the death of their son Simon, during this point Sarah wasn't a part of the cult. She'd had powers and had heard the call of Cthulhu, but she still retained her free will. After she'd effed up the ritual and summoned the Shambler by mistake, Charles realised just how powerful Sarah actually was, and he tried to have her locked away at the Institute for her own safety. Charles was one of the original cult leaders, sure, but he was actually working against the cult, as his one true goal was to protect his wife, as he knew that once her free will was broken by exposure to the mythos, she'd become a powerful weapon in the cult's hands. This is what led to the fight in the mansion. It's likely that Sarah was taken to the Institute by Silas Winchester, and Fuller had kept her there at the request of Charles, in the hope that Fuller would be able to cure Sarah of her gifts. Now on to Kat Baker. It appears that Kat had a large but unknowing role in what was happening in Darkwater. Due to her bootlegging contacts, she and her gang of bootleggers were transporting oil and booze off of the island and to the mainland, i.e. Boston. The secrecy was because of the prohibition. These deliveries to the mainland included the sleeping pills too. Now, it's entirely possible that Dr. Fuller had infused the sleeping pills with the Leviathan's oil. Edward, due to his PTSD from the Great War, procured these sleeping pills, and taking them is what opened him up to dreams and visions involving Cthulhu and Leviathan. Another small point to cover is that Dr. Colden did in fact survive being killed by Dr. Fuller. She was resurrected, and Edward meets her near the cultist ritual spot. Dr. Colden, as a result of her resurrection, had lost her free will and was now devoted to the cult of Cthulhu. This is shown through her personality being completely different in this scene. And lastly, let's look at the subject of free will. It's clear throughout the story that Leviathan, and by extension Cthulhu, rely on the erosion of a subject's free will in order to get them to do their bidding. We see that through Sarah, that after she banished the Shambler, her exposure to the mythos caused what was left of her free will to be shattered and resulted in her being controlled by Leviathan and to become devoted to the cult. As Edward descends further into insanity, his free will is being eroded bit by bit, and this is shown through additional dialogue options. The speaking or reading of the language of the sunken city, an esoteric language called Aklo, throws the speaker or the reader further into madness. There is a game mechanic where Edward can choose to drink, and this actually helps protect him from the effects of the mythos. This links into how Charles Hawkins was able to resist the cult and Leviathan and maintain his secret
so drinking was actually helping me.
In the Stranded Whale bar, Edward can see Charles Hawkins' bar tab, which is far in excess of anyone else's. It's pretty certain that Charles was aware that drinking would help him block out the influence of the myth.
That's
And
interesting.
that is it for the story of Call of Cthulhu. There are lots of other Lovecraftian horror games out there which I may do videos on in the future, but the three main ones I wanted to cover were Dark Corners of the Earth, The Sinking City, and Call of Cthulhu. If you enjoyed
I haven't
this
played
video,
The
then
Sinking
please...
City yet. Is that a good one? Alert now. I took Michael. I'm fading in and out. What the heck? Are you okay, Faces? Hope you don't feel bad. Thanks for the lurk, though. I thought you just woke up. Appreciate